presence, Miss Habiba Kahinde. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm fine. Thank you. Thanks. It's really nice to see you guys again.
So without much ado, I want to welcome Camilla Nontra.
Yay!
Oh my goodness. I should come to you every day when I'm feeling when I need
Correct. This is Sudan.
Wow.
Sudan. Believe it or not, Sudan has more pyramids than Egypt.
Interesting.
Begin to think in a Pan-African way, because they now see that their conditions are not just about that local space, but the condition is linked to all of the other.
Hello, good morning from California. Well, welcome to the PanAfricana show. My name is Fred, here along with my co-host, Jesse McCoy. Well,
Hello.
We start our show by thanking God. By Him we live, we move, and have our being. And we have a special show today. And it's been a long layoff. My boy Jesse was planning his trip to Ghana, but he's back with all the juicy details.
Yes.
So, not that he needs any introduction, but I feel it's my privilege to be on the show with him once again. Well,
Absolutely.
Jesse, over to you.
Well, first of all, I just want to say likewise. It's been a while since we've had an opportunity to be on the show. So always good to see you. And shout out to Ketchy, who could not be on today. But I'm sure that she is watching from wherever she is traveling today. I wanted to say everybody who is people like me on Facebook who are contemplating a trip to Ghana and they haven't necessarily pressed purchase on the ticket or anything. I want today to be an opportunity for you to kind of learn from my experience, understand like the degree of fun that you are getting ready to have when you do make that decision, and also understand like some of the issues, particularly on the state side, some of the difficulties in trying to get to the country. It's not like one of those places where you just buy a ticket and pop up. You know what I'm saying? There was a process for this. So I guess that's the good place to start. If you are not traveling as part of a group, especially, so if you're going as, you know, a couple or, you know, as a single person, like isolated, and you're going, you are going to have to go through a visa process. So don't wait till the last minute when you want to go to decide to do this stuff. Plan well in advance, because that process is going to require that you turn over certain identifying documents to the Ghanaian embassy so that you can get a visa printed. You also will have to submit your passport so that they pretty much glue a visa into your passport to give you entry into the country. So it's very important if you're coming from places that are not Ghana or don't have a relationship with Ghana, like if you're another African nation and you're watching this and your nation doesn't have a relationship, make sure that you get that approval, because they will send you back. Yes, make sure you get that approval. And just so you all know, I'm not playing. They almost sent me back, because when I got to Ghana, the first thing you do is you go through a customs check-in. And when I was going through a customs check-in, they had difficulty trying to find my yellow fever card. And they said, well, sir, if you don't have a yellow fever shot, you got to get back on the plane. And I was like, no, I did get a yellow fever shot. And they had to like go through all my stuff and unfold the yellow card so they could actually see I had the shot so I could get in. So it's serious. You need to make sure you've got yellow fever shot, which is the only vaccine I think that's required. And then you need to make sure that you've done what you need to do government-wise to be able to get the approval to go in. But once we had gotten through the customs checkpoint, of course, you know, I'm taking pictures. The first thing that was most noticeable is for those people who are in Europe listening to us or who are in the United States listening to us, you are going to be shocked at the fact that there are Black people on advertisements for everything. You're looking at billboards, it's Black people. The people working at the airport, Black people. Like everybody is Black. And I think we had one white person in the whole baggage claim. So it's just like to not feel like a minority and to feel the relief that's lifted from your shoulders. Now, granted, everybody, even though they have some degree of understanding of English, they speak other languages that you don't. so it's like you kind of feel like an outsider from that position, and trying to understand what's going on, where do I go. Also, what I noticed, and it's just like, I don't know if this is a Ghana thing or just an airport thing, but people speak very softly. So they're like, hi, sir. How are you? Sometimes it's hard to hear because we're used to America where everybody screams, right? It's like, hi, sir. How are you? Can I see your documents? Blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, huh? Huh? So anyways, we got our baggage and we had our good friend of the show, John, aka Azu, aka Ni Odante, who is over there waiting for us. And he had a driver arranged for us to be able to drive us where we needed to go for the week. Shout out to John. He's just a cool guy. If you all don't know him, you should try to get to know him. Super cool guy. Only thing bad I have to say about him is he's a Celtics fan.
John, I just sent him the link. I hope you're on.
Absolutely, but wonderful guy. So we ended up going, and when you travel there are different parts of Accra. So most people are going, if they go to Ghana, they're going to Accra. There are different parts of Accra. A lot of people, if you were one of those people who have a Europeanized concept of luxury, you're probably staying at something like the Kapinski. That's the hotel that's got all the bells and whistles and all that stuff. Or maybe was the Movenpick or something like that.
Yeah.
Right. But we were like, look, these rooms like $400 a night USD. That's not happening for us. We stayed in an Airbnb, which was beautiful. It was gorgeous. 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom, air conditioned, TV, Netflix, like everything. And we paid less for a week in the Airbnb luxury apartment than we would have if we had stayed in the Kapinski. Now, that doesn't mean don't visit the Kapinski. Definitely go. We went there for a night to hang out with some friends and chill at the bar. And it's a lot of movers and shakers at the Kapinski. So we met other people who are doing all kinds of things in fintech and engineering and all kinds of stuff. So you meet cool people. But for those of you all who are trying to, go and be on a budget, as opposed to if you are an NFL player and you got it, it's like, just know that. Once we got settled, I think the first night we didn't really do much, but we did find a place to eat. And it's a little cafe a couple blocks over. We were in East Legon, and it was a couple blocks over, and it's called Starbites. If you've seen my Facebook page, you've seen I'm pretty much the poster child of Ghanaian food at this point. I have taken the side in the Jollof Wars, and Ghanaian Jollof is winning until Nigeria gets me some Jollof for me to have a fair comparison. I'm just going to assume that it's not as good. So, but we found a place called Starbites. Starbites, they have some African dishes, but most of the dishes are kind of like trying to cater to people who want to have more westernized food. So they've got fish and chips, they've got hamburgers, cheeseburgers, that kind of thing. Something for everybody, pizza. But the cool thing about Starbites is Starbites has the best soundtrack whatsoever. So you sit there, they've got your Afro beats, so jamming, eating, and then they switch it and it goes to Afrobeat, reggae. People in Ghana love reggae. Like Bob Marley was everywhere, right? So if you like Bob Marley and you like reggae, you'll love it. Afrobeats, who doesn't love Afrobeats? Everybody loves Afrobeats. But then they would give you the 90s R&B and 90s hip hop. And you'd be like, oh, I didn't even know people knew about this. So everybody's like recalling their childhood, dancing at the restaurant, beating on the table, like all that stuff. So it just felt good to be like embraced, to see your culture embraced. The second day we went out to a restaurant, and I wish I remembered the name of it, but I don't. It was a restaurant slash. No, not Buka. Okay. I want to have a long conversation about Buka. I love it. But there was another restaurant, and the dish that we just got appetizers and drinks at this restaurant to celebrate Will's birthday. Friend of the show, Will does.
Hold on, Jesse. I think John is saying the Starbites pineapple juice. You left it out.
Yes. Oh, Star Bites. All right, so I just want to explain to you all. Things are a little bit different when it comes to dietary stuff. I think Ghana definitely has the United States beat because if you look at the pineapple juice that we got at Star Bites, they give you the ingredients on the side of the bottle. The ingredient literally says pineapple, right? Nothing else, just pineapple. And I was like, in America, it's like pineapple juice from concentrate, monopolo, sorbate, like all this other stuff that we inject into the food that's fake, right? And I was just like, that's interesting. But when you taste the pineapple juice, you won't ever look at a pineapple the same way. Like that, you're gonna love the pineapple juice. Everything is fresh. Everything I had in Ghana, no matter what region of Ghana I was in, everything is as close to farm to table as possible, right? So I was like, no wonder people are healthy. They have an active lifestyle. They're eating right. These are the things that make Ghana stand out, right? As opposed to America, where you eat horrible food and then sit in the couch for 3 hours, right? So love the pineapple juice. We went to Starbucks probably about 4 times while we were there, and I always got the pineapple juice at all times. Even got it to go. Love the pineapple juice. But on Sunday we were celebrating friend of the show Will Dudley's birthday, and we ordered appetizers and drinks. The appetizer was supposed to be prawn. Now, for those of you all who are from the American South, prawn is shrimp, right? So you're thinking, oh, there's going to be some shrimp. We're just going to have a taste and we'll start out and then we'll see where the night goes from there. Apparently over there, prawn is like this. Prawn was basically like, the only thing I can compare it to is if you get a massive crab and you cut it in half, you slice it in half, the meat is already seasoned, buttered, all that stuff, and you literally just scoop the crab meat out and eat it. That was what they called prawn, right? So I was like, yo, this is already phenomenal. My first day here and I'm eating crab, right? Like that's, we already jumped to the top shelf stuff already. So delicious food. We had a great time celebrating. We had a very ambitious travel itinerary because we wanted to not tour Accra alone. We wanted to tour Ghana, the nation, which I'm told is about the equivalent size of Oregon, the state of Oregon.
Yeah.
Which, for those of you who know, that's a pretty big state, right? A lot of places to go in a short amount of time. So the first day when we did get a chance to hang out in Accra, we went to Jamestown. Now, if you are from the Virginia, North Carolina area, when I say Jamestown, that name means something to you because Jamestown was the first British settlement in the New World that, people didn't die and cannibalize themselves. That it actually survived, largely because they also were the first place to bring in slaves to the United States, which is how they sustained themselves. Well, Jamestown and Accra, very similar backstory. This was one of the places where they had slave castles, which we didn't even know there were slave castles in Accra. It's slave castles, and we had a very knowledgeable tour guide who took us into the slave castles, told us all about, the slave owner that ran the castle, took us through dungeons so we could see what they did to the ancestors. And this was a slave castle that was established in the 1600s for an American who was trying to get, slaves brought over to, at that time, Virginia. So Jamestown, have a relationship, right?
Yeah.
The slave dungeons, everything that you've ever heard about it, or if you've ever seen somebody do a tour, all the emotions that come up, it's a very real thing. A lot of anger, right? Because what we oftentimes don't really consider was the level of thought that was put into enslaving Black people. I always tell people we went to 3 slave castles, and they're all from 3 different centuries. And you can see the progress in the development of technology for each slave castle as it got more closer to common era. It was, oh my goodness, these people actually put thought and depravity into the torture of African people. They even had in 2 of the castles a starvation room. So if you were an African who fought back, they would put you in a room where they would close it, basically seal you in a room with no ventilation, and you starve to death, right? And they even have like scratches in the stone on the wall where people were like clawing and begging to get out, and they just starved to death. So of course, that's going to elicit some kind of emotion. I do want to brace people, particularly if you aren't from the area and you've never been through these castles. Sometimes there are white people who are also on this tour with you, and you're gonna feel some kind of way if you're taking a tour with white people who have like extra questions that you feel like might not be appropriate right now, right? So we had a German guy who was on the tour with us. And I guess for him, it was like, all giggles, right? Like he thought it was, oh, history. Ooh, this is exciting. And for us, it's our history, right? It's us. So, he wanted to ask us questions about stuff that had nothing to do with the slave dungeons. And it was very difficult for me to have a conversation with him in that moment, because at this moment, you're the enemy, right? Even though Germany didn't necessarily have slaves like that, but still, like, it just feels weird. We came out of Jamestown and we went through, it's kind of an area where they had like school children playing games, the classroom settings, people, of course, selling wares and street food and all this stuff. And then we passed this place called the Vulture House. And the Vulture House is this place where they used to take the dead bodies of enslaved Africans and stack them in this house for the birds to eat, right? And they have a lot of reverence and honor for the place because it's a place of the dead. So nobody uses it. It looks like a yellow palace, but it's got birds painted all over it. And it's very somber stuff, right? Very difficult stuff to kind of digest. But we did Jamestown. And then, of course, to get over some of our initial anger, John wisely took us to Black Star Square and go see like stuff that we can be proud of. So we went and did all the classic Accra stuff. We climbed up to the top of Black Star Square. Of course, we took pictures. There was somebody shooting a music video right outside of it, so that was cool. We went to Kwame Nkrumah's museum, and we did the stuff that people do when they go to Accra. So that was day one. Had a great time. We ended day one by going to my favorite restaurant in Ghana, and that is called the Buka Restaurant.
All
and
right.
let me tell you,
before we go on, just a shout out to Kima Lynette.
Kima, how you doing?
Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
She's in shock, I guess.
So
right.
Buka Restaurant, like this place was amazing. And when I say amazing, the food was delicious. So the food, you can get jollof rice with any kind of meat that you want. They give you like a cabbage, carrot, like vegetable combination. And I learned a lot about like restaurants and service and hospitality. It's very different from the United States in several different ways. One, if you order a Coke or a Sprite, they're going to bring you a frozen glass, like a frosty cold glass with filtered ice, right? And the actual drink that you ordered. So a Coke, and then you open it, just pour it in the glass. And it's like that frozen glass makes such a big difference. For some reason, it makes your drink more delicious. So they do that. And then they bring you, of course, the filtered water, which the filtered water of choice, I'm not getting paid to say it, but Belagua. Belagua was everywhere. They might as well start paying us for advertising because that's what they did. Belagua. So I had that. That was the first time that I had what they call proper jollof rice. And that jollof rice was delicious. So as I have said to my good friend here, Nigeria, y'all behind. Y'all got to catch up. Right now, I've tasted Ghanaian jollof rice, and I'm in their camp until somebody with Nigerian jollof rice presents it to me, right, and lets me have an opportunity to see where it is. But that Ghanaian jollof rice was delicious. So much so that we ended up going back and waiting in lunch traffic and all that to go a second time later that week. So great restaurant. Shout out to them. And if you get a chance to go, definitely go. I think it's in Osu, I think.
Yeah,
is the name.
it's an Osu. Yeah.
Yeah. So that was the first day. The next day, we decided we wanted to go to Cape Coast and tour the other slave castles, the ones that people know, Elmina and Cape Coast Castle. So Elmina, for those who don't know, it started as a Portuguese fort and slave dungeon in the 1480s, right? So we're talking about like when slavery first began, when people first started gathering Africans. This was the place that those Africans were being marched to. And you see that the stuff they have is very primitive. They hadn't really contemplated at that point what it would be like if Africans rebelled and fought against them, because there's a lot of open space, right? A lot of open space. But the big thing that was really taking the Portuguese out was more so malaria. And the comment was made on the tour that we really should erect a statue to mosquitoes, because they were actually killing off a lot of soldiers and whatnot who were there trying to keep people in dungeons. The dungeons, we got to go through them. Same deal as before, but on a much bigger scale. Interesting thing to note is if you look from an aerial viewpoint of the slave castles, right, you can almost brick by brick take that aerial view and match it with any American penitentiary ever. It's almost the same. The difference is that on the top floor of the slave castles, they had cannons to fire on ships that were approaching. In America, those penitentiaries have snipers to shoot people who are trying to get away. That's the only difference. Everything else is pretty much the same. The bars are made of iron. It's not a lot of space. They cramming people into places with not a lot of ventilation. The bathroom is going to be public. It's not a bathroom. It's just leaning against the wall, and everybody's there. Also, just to make sure people understand the depravity of this, on the top floor is the governor's suite. The governor's the person who runs the castle. That governor's suite, keep in mind, it gets hot, right? In the dungeons and all that, it's no ventilation. It's very hot, right? But in the governor's suite, it's built so that the windows open and there's always a crosswind. So you walk in there
Sea breeze
feels comfortable. On top of that, he has a private staircase for which he used to go down and pick female slaves to sexually assault. So it's like all kinds of stuff that people factored in order to engage in like just the depravity of taking humanity away from a person in every way possible. So for a lot of people, it's very difficult to navigate those spaces. On top of that, they started instituting punishments. So one punishment was if a slave was fighting or if a woman was unwilling to submit herself to the assault, they would chain you to a pole and make you hold cannonballs. And they let us grab these cannonballs. These cannonballs were about 30 pounds. And you have to hold the cannonballs above your head, right? So it's just horrific torture that, people had to deal with on top of, everything else that we know about already. When we leave Elmina, we go to Cape Coast Castle. Cape Coast Castle, built in the 1600s, a lot more technologically advanced. So they have also incorporated the thought process that if Black people try to run, it's better to build doorways that are only half the size of a person. So in order to get into the dungeon, you have to squat to get in and squat to get out. And that makes it incredibly difficult for any kind of large scale resistance. All right. So the thought process that the European powers put in to have these slave castles was ridiculous. On top of that, we learned that a lot of the slaves that were captured initially were from the Asante tribe from Kumasi. Now, Kumasi from Accra was about a 5-hour drive, right? So we're talking about people who marched from Kumasi or from parts outside of Kumasi down to Cape Coast then tortured and brutalized. Then ultimately your last stop is the door of no return where you exit out and get on the ship. Now, to put this in context, for us to get to Accra was a 10-hour flight going 560 miles an hour in the air from Washington, D.C. to Accra. These people, after they went through all of that brutalization and horror, were put on a boat that was largely powered by wind to go across an ocean to various stops in South America, Central America, the Caribbean, and North America, right? So the strength that people had to have to endure all of that punishment and still be here and then get to America and then get beat and branded and all that stuff is just miraculous. Like, these people were amazing people. And even for the folks who were not able to survive, I just think, you always have to have a moment to celebrate in those castles the people who were captured, because that was a lot. Okay. The other thing about Cape Coast outside of the castles is as you drive closer to the beach, you see mountains that shimmer. And I was like, well, I've never seen shimmering mountains. And it's because the mountains have a substance in them called silica. Now, silica is one of the materials, the raw materials that Ghana is being pillaged for, essentially, by outside interests. So they take that silica, and I think they use it to make like cell phone screens and stuff like that. But it's flowing. It's everywhere on the way to Cape Coast. You also see, you pass through a lot of small villages where they build canoes, and the process is interesting. You see them hollow out a tree and they make canoes that can withstand the power of the ocean. And it's a lot of fishing towns.
Yeah,
so on the way,
a lot of fishermen in those
absolutely
areas. Yeah.
Absolutely. So on the way back, we stopped in a small fishing village called Mori. And when we got out in Mori, there was a bronze statue of a man that they say was a giant, but the best fisherman ever from Mori, holding a fish. So of course we took pictures of it. There's, one thing that I really, really appreciated is no matter where we went, wildlife just kind of runs free. So there's like goats, there's chickens, there whatever. They just run, like goats walk across the street and look at you like you crazy. So it's just interesting. And, everybody just coexists with nature and with their neighbors and in such a nice way. Whereas in America, everybody kind of isolates because people are always like, oh, I think somebody's after me, or I think somebody's going to try to rob me or whatever. Everybody else is just team and having a good time. So it was a very eye-opening experience for day one. But Cape Coast, definitely recommend. I will say one of the things that as a foreigner you want to be prepared for is a lot of people know that those places are tourist places. So when you show up, there are going to be people trying to sell you stuff. As soon as you get out the car, like you're not even going to be able to open the door, and they're going to already be there with their wares or artwork or whatever they're trying to sell. And like if you're from the American South like me, you want to be nice to people, and you're trying to be like, oh no, sir, thank you, no, thank you, blah blah blah. But it could be a lot because it might be 30 people there. It would be a lot. So the advice that I was given was to just keep walking, go to your place unless you are legitimately interested in getting one of the wares. But I would just caution you, make sure that you understand where your surroundings are.
That's why it's important to have someone on the ground.
Absolutely.
Someone taking you around. And so I think I saw a sister from Brazil. A Brazil Israeli sister was asking. She commented on your post.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, how could I?
Roxy.
Mm-hmm. She was asking about whether it was safe for her to go by herself. Yeah, it is safe, but it's advisable to go to someone who knows the terrain. If you have contacts there, you can get in touch with us, with Jesse or myself, and then he can put you in contact with our good brother Azu. And he'll make your life much easier. You need someone, and it's better to go with company. Makes it much easier. But going by yourself solo, I wouldn't advise that. It's not that you be in danger of your life or anything, but yeah, you're better off.
Right. So there are always people, particularly folks I know in America, who are always scared of the worst case scenario because that's what we see on the news here every day. Nothing like that happens, right? So it's not like mass shootings or anything like that. Even the police situation, which I'll talk about in a little bit, is not the same as here. But I think that it is important for you to know that you are going to stick out as an American. You stand out. Like everybody knows that you are, even if you're trying to blend in, just because you don't necessarily speak the multitude of languages there. And I don't think anybody there was necessarily trying to be violent or anything like that. But if they see an opportunity to make money, right, there might be an opportunity to make money, and you want to be careful. Like it's okay to pay and buy things or whatever. I don't want you to be a jerk, being over there. But at the same time, I don't want you to get ripped off either if something is really worth, a dollar.
Excuse me. Yeah, that's why I brought that up, because you're talking about buying things. So when you have a local, like Jesse had a good friend, John, who was able to get you bargain price because they try to upsell, they try to,
absolutely
jack the prices up. So.
Oh yeah, and let's talk about that too. Shopping works a little bit different. So they have stores where like it's just regular shopping in malls. But when you try to go, usually you want to go to the art center, right? You go to the art center, it's a barter system. So there's not like a fixed price of what things are. But what they do is they'll pull out tables and put it in the middle of the room. So anything that you want, you put on the table. I want people to know that because I know in America it's common for people to grab stuff and just walk around holding it until they get to the register. But these dudes in the art center are all boxers, and you will get your cranium rocked if you run up in there trying to carry stuff around. They don't play that. So you put it on the table, and then once you've gotten what you want, then hopefully you'll have somebody from there who can, negotiate for you to figure out a price that's fair without you getting ripped off and still get nice stuff. Because the art center is great. They have nice things, but much like Cape Coast, if you are there and you don't have a plan, as soon as you get out the car, here people coming, right? People coming. So those are things to kind of be prepared for. But you shouldn't be afraid for your life. I think the worst thing we saw as far as that goes was like people with mopeds who like dart out in front of traffic. We saw a guy get hit while we were at Starbucks. He got hit with a car, and we were all worried about him. But then he got up and just picked up his moped and walked to the side and was fine.
Yeah, safer there than. I mean, when I was I lived in West Philly. I lived in North Philly.
Mm-hmm.
I did not
North
just walk
Philly
around
sure.
anytime. But
North
for
Philly
sure, I could walk anywhere in Accra and be safe when I was growing up. So that's the difference. You don't need to be afraid for your life.
Absolutely.
You're likely to go get robbed like that. And so.
Absolutely. Shout out to North Philly, but I do know that North Philly, if you're going to go there, you better know somebody. For sure. So the second day we were there, we ended up going to, this is third day. Third day we were there, we ended up going to Kumasi. Kumasi was a very interesting trip because John had warned me that we were going to be driving through the bush for a while in order to get to Kumasi. But quiet as kept, I thought riding through the bush in Ghana was probably one of the biggest stress relievers ever because there are so many villages along the way where like you wouldn't have seen these things if you were in an airplane. And just to see like how people interact, what people sell, or the different like fruits and stuff that people have along the way was very, very cool. Now keep in mind, there's a group of dudes in a car with a professional driver. So I don't know if I would necessarily rent a car and do it myself. But I definitely think that was a fun experience working our way up to Kumasi. Now, Kumasi was where my mind was blown. And let me tell you guys why. Kumasi is kind of like a museum of all things related to Black history that we don't get.
Jesse, before you go on, so Kumasi is the second largest city in Ghana. Accra is the capital. It's the largest city. And Kumasi is the second largest city in Accra. And it's where I'll let Jesse talk about the royal stuff, but
Yes.
it's a bustling city and next to Accra, and it's where now the second international airport is being built.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, things will be much easier when you could probably fly straight from DC to Kumasi soon. Yeah. So just to give you background, Cape Coast is another city that's in the central region. Now Kumasi is in the Ashanti region, forehead of Ashanti tribe, Ashanti region, and then the central region is where Cape Coast is. That's closer to Accra. But Kumasi is more in the central. It's probably more in the heart of Ghana.
Right.
All right, I'll let you go.
Right. So one of the things that we in America hear about is people always try to minimize our story to make it seem like we were on slave ships and then we ended up in America, and they don't tell us anything that happened before. And when you ask about what happened before, they say, oh, well, African history and tradition wasn't written down. It was just orally passed, and we don't have those records. So we don't know. But then you get to Kumasi, and there's a museum for everything. And the museums have even the leadership of the Ashanti people all the way back to the year 1300, right? So it's like the other half of the story that you never hear about, and you're learning all this stuff. And one of the things that really, really shocked me was they have a museum dedicated to a sword. Now, let me tell you about this sword. The sword is in a rock in the ground, and it's the mythology is that only somebody who is worthy will be able to pull that sword out of the stone, right? This sword has been there since, I think, like the 1500s, right? Now, if you are from America and you have taken any kind of British literature, you've heard this story before. This is the King Arthur story where he pulls Excalibur out of the ground and all of a sudden he's worthy, right? So you're thinking to yourself, how in the world did King Arthur, which is probably a 1500 story, right, happen? But this is actually it's because they stole it, right? Like they stole the story of King Arthur from this region with a sword that you can actually see is in the ground. So it's mind-blowing, like the levels of stuff that people take and market in order to make it into something big for them. But it really is our history, it's our story. On top of that, we learned about the Ashanti tribe and like how all these families basically come together to make up the Ashanti clan. Oh, what's up, John? How you doing?
John. I come for a notchy sword. Yeah.
Yes. Yes. So we got to tour and learn about some of the more modern leaders of the tribe, as well as some of the leaders that we all really should know about. So they had a leader that named Ya Asantewe. This lady took on the military, the European military.
Yeah, Santua.
Ya Asante. Yes. Took on leadership and took on the military. She ended up getting exiled because she was standing against the military. But we don't learn about any of this over here, right? On top of that, we learned about how a lot of the kingships would pass, or at least the chieftaincies, I should say, would pass through maternal lineage. So women had a lot more of a role in leadership than what the European world would ever want you to believe, right? Because European world is almost like they hold a mirror up to what African culture does, and they make everything that African people do evil, and they make everything they do right. So if we had women who were in charge, they make it so women have to be subordinate. If we have, certain things that we do, they make it so that stuff's bad, but their way is better, right? And so because we're in America, we only get exposed to that one way, and that's all we know. But when you go to these other places, you're going to learn about what was happening before colonization, what was happening before all this. Coolest thing we learned in Kumasi was there is a drum that when played sounds like a leopard or some kind of wildcat when you play it. Very interesting. And what we were told was that this drum was used when the Europeans attempted to invade. The Europeans had guns and the Asante did not. So you knew what the outcome was going to be. But the Asante had very courageous warriors. So they would play this drum, and it would scare the Europeans out of their ranks, out of their they used to do the red coat marching in line. It would scare them because they would think there's a wildcat or a leopard, a lion or something in the woods, and they would run into an ambush from the Ashanti. Great stuff, amazing stuff. And then they've also got a lot of the things like gold is a free-flowing natural resource up there. That's why the Europeans were coming in to get it. And they've got so much stuff made out of gold that they just put it in a museum. So like golden thrones, they call them stools. So stools is an indicator of your status as a chief. They've got stools, they've got golden scepters, they've got golden, basically you name it, they got something in it that's gold.
Did you see the golden stool that Okomfuanachi called from the heavens? Did you see that one?
I didn't. I don't know if we saw that one. We saw the painting of it.
Oh, okay.
But what we actually saw was there's a room with all of the stools, I guess, for all of the leaders. They blacken them when the leader passes. So it's blackened stools. We also saw some stools that had like designs. I'm not sure what the designs were for. I think they were Adinka signs, but I'm not sure. But I mean, just eye-opening stuff of, history, tradition, heritage, dating way before the 1600 slave trades and all that stuff. And it's just, to me, it's a source of pride. Like, if you have relatives or ancestors who are from this region, you have something to be proud of, and you have something that is already embedded in your DNA, right? Those same ancestors are in your DNA. So when people tell you that you aren't smart or that you aren't good enough or whatever, it's all lies. Like, it's all lies. So Kumasi.
Oh, I think I interrupted you when you're talking about your ancestor because it's a key part of the history that how she led the people to defeat the British the first time around before they went and re-upped their technology and came back, because she did lead them. And the men were actually scared.
Mm-hmm.
That she stood up in the room and said, "I'm not scared," and she led a victorious fight against the British.
Absolutely. How powerful is that? Like, people, it's sisters right now that think that they are powerless to change the society around them. And how powerful is that story to somebody who has been dealing with those kinds of hardships anyway? Like, it's stuff that it literally just gets wiped away from the history books over here. Like, it never happened, right? But you have to reconnect, because I think by reconnecting and understanding the history, it helps you better understand the people, but it also helps you better understand yourself, right? And everybody's welcoming. Like, we didn't go anywhere where people were like, "Boo, Americans, get out of here." Like, we didn't go anywhere. Everybody's so welcoming. They're like, "Welcome home. Let me show you this. This is, where this is the other part of your story, blah, 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 blah." Kumasi is also known for fufu. And we stopped at the restaurant. John may remember the name of it. The restaurant that makes...
John, please drop the name.
Yes, please do. We had fufu. And I got laughed at, Fred. I got laughed at eating fufu because it's my first time having it. I saw how it was made and everything. But when I ate fufu, I picked up the bowl and I started drinking the bowl because the groundnut soup is delicious. And so I started drinking from the bowl and I was getting laughed at. So that's when they said, "Oh, he is Ghanaian." Like, he's Ghanaian.
Oh yeah, because I know exactly what they're saying, because back in the day, I mean, John would tell you when we went up the road to get some fufu and we ate it. That was like sort of a sacred moment where we finish it and the soup, they still have a lot of soup, and everyone takes their turn. So once you did that, like you did that out of, no one told you to do that, but you just did that like instinctively. So it knows that's the DNA was definitely in you. So that's why you became officially an official Asante.
Absolutely. Well, I'll just say this. I think it was Ketchy who told me, she was telling me about groundnut soup.
House. Okay.
Afia House. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So she was telling me about ground nut soup, and I was like, I never had soup with
That's
nuts
it's
in
peanut
it.
butter, basically. So if you
Yeah.
peanut
But
butter.
I was like, I never had soup with peanut butter in it, so it doesn't sound right. Trust me, people. Like, go have ground nut soup. It is delectable. And the other thing I didn't know about fufu, it puts you down. Like once you eat it, you're gonna be tired. It's gonna be nap time for you. So,
It's very starchy, a lot of carbohydrates.
very starchy, very starchy. So we did that, and then on the way back, we stopped at this little area that was selling like turkey wings and yam fries, which yam fries and French fries to me taste about the same, but yam is so much healthier for you than French fries. So if you get a chance to have yam fries, definitely take advantage of the yam fries. They're delicious.
Oh, you had it with some shito? Did you have it with some shit?
I don't know what that is.
Oh, shito is the black hot sauce. I saw it in your plate when you're eating the jollof.
Oh no. Well, they told me it was like red pepper sauce.
No, the red. Oh, they had the red pepper. So they have the red pepper and the black pepper. The black pepper is the shito.
Ah, okay. No, I didn't have that.
I saw that on your jollof. And I saw that in your jollof plate, if I'm not mistaken. On your when you had buka, I saw there's some shito in there.
Well, I think John was laughing at me because I only had like a fingertip of the red pepper sauce, and it was very hot, and I was like, won't be doing that.
But you're about to eat the fufu though. The fufu wasn't hot. The soup wasn't hot.
It was flavorful. It was a little bit spicy, but it wasn't like burn my mouth.
Okay.
Yeah. Now they had levels because they were like, we can give you another. And I was like, no, I need basic introductory fufu level. And they were like, well, we're gonna give you the ground nut.
Okay. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah, so it's levels. So I don't want people to go in there and be like, oh yeah, I can do any fufu. Put it on the bowl. I got it. No. When it changes color to green, you probably don't. Yes. So we had a great time. Kumasi was great. Got back the next day. We went to the Vulture region. Vulture region is like the countryside, kind of.
It's far east in Ghana.
Right.
East.
Right. So they have a beautiful river that runs through. It's a bridge over the river, and we stopped in that morning at, I don't remember the name of a bar, but it's like a bar. And just an aside, I want to tell you guys, there's a very interesting relationship between the people and nature in Ghana. So at this restaurant, it's basically still it's enclosed in trees. They don't knock trees down to build the restaurant. They build around the trees, right? So you're in there and there's still like, animals walking around, of course, a chicken, a couple lizards, a dog, which, me with people's dogs, if I don't know them, I get nervous. So the dog barked when we walked in and I was like, oh, this is going to be a problem. And he started following us. But when we sat down, he just sat down beside us and was chilling. I guess he was waiting for us to give him food or something like that. He was relaxed and chilling. So I was like, oh, that's cool, dog. So very, very laid back, kind of mellow spot. Enjoyed ourselves. I don't think it was as exciting. I think Vulture region is more like laid back. So it's not as high paced as like going to Kumasi or going to Accra. But I mean, I definitely see the value because in my mind, the Vulture region reminds me of the area of North Carolina where my mom is from, which is Rocky Mount. It's like country, dirt roads. People just kind of hang out all day when they're not doing the farming thing. They just kind of hang out, make a big dinner. If you come by, but they
have the best beaches though.
We got. Beaches. You said beaches?
Yeah,
I didn't know there were beaches. We didn't.
You didn't go that. No. Oh, okay, yeah, they do. They do. They're some of the cleaner beaches. Yeah, but you did take a picture. I saw you. Oh, that's a Vulture Lake. I don't remember.
Vulture Lake. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Was it a lake or river? I think.
Yeah, Vulture River.
River. We took a picture of that. But we did have some delicious mangoes. They sold mangoes on the side. Now, first off, for people in the United States, you may not know there is variety in mangoes. Like in the U.S., we only get one kind of mango. Mm-hmm. There was red, yellow, orange, and they all have like a different taste. So like we got mangoes, like we had no sense, and took them back to the Airbnb to eat mangoes. And I'm talking about just the sweetest, juiciest mangoes that you ever had in life. Also, the mango that I had didn't have like strings. Like, like some of the mangoes are really stringy when you cut it and bite it, but no strings. It was just sliding off the skin, eating just delicious mango. We also had pineapple, not from Vulture, but we had pineapple. And Will had put me up on that. He said, get the white pineapple. And I was like, I never heard of a white pineapple. So we were at Golden Tulip, I think, the first day.
Oh, okay.
And we had the white pineapple. Y'all, the white pineapple is like you take all the sweetness of a yellow pineapple, but none of the tang. It's just sweet. No tang whatsoever, just sweet. And I was like, yo, this is amazing. So there's fruits and vegetables and spices and herbs that they have over there that we don't have here. And you're going to get a kick out of seeing the way that different culinary artists are able to put that together and present it to you. And it's going to be delicious. I will also say, in America, when you tell like your healthcare professional that you are getting ready to travel to Ghana, there's going to be a tendency for the healthcare professional to try to like scare you into a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
So of course you have to get the yellow fever shot. That's true. But they're going to try to scare you into getting like a million different vaccines that you probably don't need unless you're going to be Bear Grylls living off the land in the bush. Right. So that's different. Other than that, if you're going to be in the city, if you're going to be in Accra, you probably don't need all that. They will also promote malaria meds and something else they wanted me to get. I did the malaria meds just because I didn't know if I should or not. And I figured, hey, well, I'll do it. But I don't really think I needed it. And I think that I don't think Will took them. I don't think he got them. So, we ate mostly at restaurants outside of the days we were traveling where we ate in the smaller villages. But for the most part, we ate in restaurants. And to be honest with you all, I didn't even have a digestive issue until I came back. Like when I got back here, I guess my body was getting readjusted to like eating American food again. And I probably didn't make the best selections on what I was going to eat. Sarah, hey, what's going on? So that's one of my TikTok people. And I want to have
Sarah, watch it.
Yes.
Did you have watch it? You haven't said anything about watch it.
I don't think I did. I know we talked about it, but I don't think I did.
Rice and beans mix the brown. Oh, okay.
Yeah. John knew a spot that he wanted us to go to, but I don't think we got over to.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sarah, we got to have you on the show. So Sarah is from Detroit, but she has TikTok videos of her travels and her time living in Ghana.
Oh,
so,
okay.
That's how we're cool. But yes, definitely. I'll reach out to you. So we did that. And then our last day we were in Accra. And like the thing that people like about Accra is nightlife, right? Like we went and we thought we were going to, John probably remembers the name of the club. I think it's Sky Bar. So we thought we were going to this like place that we were going to be able to hang out. Sky Bar basically had the people right there at the Velvet Rope like, nah, it's a private event tonight. Y'all not coming in. So we were like, oh man, we kind of bummed out. But right beside Sky Bar is a place called Fat Fish. It's a lounge and they, serve food, but it's just like, a cool place to chill. So we end up going to Fat Fish. Let me tell you guys about Fat Fish. First of all, we were in some of the most comfortable chairs I've ever sat in my life. And when the lady brought the menu, I immediately noticed that she had oxtails on the menu. And as someone who loves Jamaican food, I was like, you ain't really doing the oxtails the way you need to do. She was like, no, they're really good. I was like, no. I can't have like okay oxtails. I got to have like excellent oxtails. She was like, oh, they're really good. I was like, you putting a lot on it, right? That's oxtail. Is somebody Jamaican working in the back? She was like, don't worry, it's going to be great. So I ordered the oxtails. When I tell you all, these oxtails were delicious. Like she came back to my plate with nothing but bones left on the plate and was like, I guess you didn't like it. So we ate. Then they had a DJ in there, and the DJ started playing all these songs, like all the Afrobeat songs is hot. They were playing them, and then people get up and they just start dancing in the middle of the lounge. So everybody's partying, and it's not even like a club setting. This is like a restaurant setting, but everybody's just having a good time. Like I will say this, there are some very, very beautiful people in Ghana, and I mean that like internally, but also externally. There are some very beautiful people in Ghana, and so please, if you get an opportunity, particularly for those of you all who are unmarried and single and able to go out there, please go out and see, because you're probably gonna have a good time. People are very different because, you know, like, I hate to compare it, right? But in America, it's kind of like, who are you? What can you do for me? Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, there's expectations just in saying hi to somebody. Whereas over there, everybody is so nurturing, like so caring. Hey, nice to meet you. My name is this. Oh, have a seat. Well, how long are you here? What do you want to do? Hey, I know somebody who can get you in here. Blah, 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 blah. It's just a different feel. Like, you don't feel like you have to have your guard up all the time. And you can actually relax. The biggest thing is, I think there are a lot of people who are involved in a lot of different like businesses and corporations and types of work. And people network all the time. Like when we went to Buka, we were sitting at a table with people that we didn't even know. And next thing we know, the guy is a fertilizer distributor from Canada trying to set up in Accra. So exchange contact information. There's a girl there who does like airline freight. So now he has somebody to ship fertilizer, right? Like, it's just so many connections that you make just from talking to people and, you know, getting to know folks that in America would never happen, right? Like, America's like, I'm not eating with strangers. You know what I'm saying? It's just me and these two. We'll take all 8 spaces at the table, just the 3 of us.
Oh, Sarah says she posted it on YouTube. I don't know whether it's a video you did with her or something on TikTok.
Let me see. Oh, yeah. She posts, well, I know she posts all her videos, and I know she's planning on coming back.
Oh, okay. So and then she says she can't wait to go to Ghana.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
She's laughing at your jokes.
Yes. It's just an amazing experience, and I feel like, you know, I don't know what the experience is for people. You know, a lot of people from Ghana go to the UK for university or whatever, and so like people in the UK may have a different viewpoint. But if you are from the United States, you need to at least go. First of all, if you are Black from the United States, you need to go to Ghana at least once in your life, just to embrace, like just to feel the power. You come back so energized and like aware of what you are and how beautiful the culture is. And, you know, the country in and of itself was founded for everybody to be kind of like this melting pot place of Blackness, where we can all come back and discuss and be Pan-African, right? So, you know,
that was Nkrumah's vision, exactly.
Absolutely.
Vision.
So it pays to go. Now, I know also Americans sometimes can be jerks, right? Because I think in America, there are a lot of things that I call it appeasements, things that are given to you to take your mind off of the more serious stuff that's happening. And sometimes you won't have those appeasements when you travel outside of the United States. But at the same time, I feel like if you go with an open mind and you actually do what you should be doing on vacation, which is going out, getting to know people, learning about the place, investing in the culture, all that stuff. If you do that, you're going to have a phenomenal time. Now, if you go over there being a jerk and be like, oh, why I don't have this or that or blah, 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 like, don't do that. Like, for instance, the road system is different than it is in America. So for most of your interstates and all that stuff, it's just the same. But for the streets that are actually in the city, like getting from East Legon to Accra proper, right? If we were traveling and let's say, you know, it's a tropical climate, so that means it's going to rain at some point in the day. When it rains, the streets wash out. So there's not like some service that's going to come and like suck the water up. The water's just there until it rolls off and people can navigate again. So you may be sitting in traffic for an hour, hour and a half, just waiting, right? You have to understand that's the way it is. The place is developing, and in the grand scheme of things, we're talking about a baby country. This country's only been in existence since 1967, right?
1957.
57. I'm sorry, 1957. So we're talking about a baby country, and what you will appreciate is all the things that they've been able to do in the short amount of time that they have been an independent nation. Right. So you don't want to go over there with the arrogant American attitude, like, oh, I got this, I want that, blah, 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 blah. You want to go over there and understand, all right, this place is going to operate different, but while I'm here, I'm going to operate as the people here do, and actually give folks a chance for you to develop your own appreciation for the culture, as opposed to trying to colonize and install American values and stuff elsewhere. And that's why I emphasize Black, because I already know when white people come, it's going to be a whole other thing. They're going to be like, oh, I want to wear my American flag on top of the Black Star. So Black people, do yourself a favor.
Yeah. Sarah says people have to have an open mind.
Absolutely. And I mean, like, little stuff that people always, I used to hate when I would tell people I'm going, and the first thing people want to tell you is about like first they perceive that there's danger, right? So it's like, oh, make sure you're careful. Mm-hmm. Careful what? Yeah. You hear about kids getting shot in Texas, like or wherever, New Mexico, whatever, last week? Like, come on. And they're just like, yo, be careful. But then it's always like, well, what, I gotta have internet. I can't do it. I gotta have internet. Well, I'm here to tell you, there was internet pretty much everywhere in Ghana that I went. It's internet as soon as you get off the plane, right? So that's not an excuse. As far as food is better. I'm just gonna step out there and say Ghanaian food is better than the United States food. I don't care. Y'all can fight me over it. But it's better. It's fresher. It's more tasty. It's just better.
Natural.
And I think that the lifestyle is different. Like, imagine if you lived in a place where you ate stuff straight farm to table and you walked all day, right? Or you did something active all day. Imagine the kind of shape that you would be in, as opposed to eating fake chemicals and preservatives and calling it beef, and sitting down and working from a desk all day. Right? It's different. And I think you would feel different. Your personality would be different. The last thing I'm gonna say, and then I'm gonna shut up. People in Ghana, how can I put this, are the most brilliant, intelligent people I've ever met. A regular person working at a store in Ghana knows more than me, and I am a law professor at Duke University, right? These people speak 4 to 5 languages each, right? These people understand English and mathematics in ways that you couldn't even begin to comprehend, right? You sit here doing conversions like, oh, 7 CD going to $1, and then when I carry the one, you doing that, and they already like, sir, I got to keep the line moving like this. So just to be around people who like value education and value like brilliance, particularly coming from a country where we kind of value stupidity sometimes, it's just fascinating to me. So all those things I say, in addition to like a large population of people in their 20s and 30s, like all those things are reasons why I think investing in Ghana is a great idea, because it's only going to get better. It's only going up, right? Mm-hmm. So yeah, if you don't do anything else, at least go over there, spend some time there, get your own experiences, right? And then come back and talk about them, or reach out to us so we can have you on the show and talk about them. And, just appreciate it. Because now I feel like the key to the doors of Africa, the continent, are open for me now. So now that I've seen Ghana, I got to get to all these other places. And it's basically going to be premised on who's going to give me the best food. So if you all are watching, Nigeria, you're on notice. Senegal, you're on notice. Ethiopia on notice, Egypt on notice, Kenya on notice, and South Africa. I know they're already gonna say they got great food, but they still on notice because I haven't gotten it.
The food is not as great.
It's not good.
It's not as great. Without due respect to our sisters, Yolanda and Indigo. Sarah says the second most peaceful country in the entire world. Yes, Ghana is very peaceful. And then she says yes, organic food. Yes, so that's one thing that was a shock to us Ghanaians when you come here, and there's a difference between organic food and
whatever.
But then you realize that all that we ate was straight from the farm or straight from the garden, backyard. We had plantains in the back. My dad made an emphasis to plant a lot of trees. We had the garden back here. We had the yams on the back, cocoa yams, plantains. Everything came straight from the garden to the plate. So
absolutely,
yes, it didn't go through all kinds of processes, all kinds of chemicals.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
She says, I'm going to Togo next. Oh, wow. Yeah. Togo is a beautiful country.
Yeah, we need to get a group of people who want to do these travels so we can all go together.
Desire, I lived in Zimbabwe for, in total, 8 weeks. And with all due respect, I love Zimbabwe. I love the people. It's almost like my second country, but our food is much better. Yes, Desire, go back and watch. Jesse is talking about his experience. He's just coming back from Ghana. He's talking about his experience in Ghana.
Yes.
So definitely do well and comment. It's all love.
Yeah. And I got Zimbabwe on the list too, man. I'm gonna need you to help me find some places over there. But definitely, it's on the list. I'm more scared that I'm not gonna be able to get to everybody because these trips are not cheap.
They're not cheap.
I got to stack up my money. It takes me about a year or two to get everything together to do it. But I definitely want to go, and I think now I'm so open to seeing like what other cultures are around and what other nations we're doing and all that. And I just got to get to Nigeria because of the DNA test results. So I feel like I just got to go now. But let me know. And food is my love language. So like I can go anywhere that has good food. But I also want to learn about the culture and see if it's something I can bring. Oh, here we go. Here go John.
Yeah, here we go. The trash talking begins. Yeah. John is right. John too is well traveled. John has been to Europe. He's been in different parts of the continent. Yep. He's been to the US. So John knows what he's talking about. I'm not just. I've also been. It's not just me. As long as it says not true. As long as you visit, yeah.
Absolutely. I'm trying to get everywhere I can because the main thing about it is there's so much that I feel like the diaspora in general can learn from each other. And it's so sad that all these barriers have been put up to keep us from learning the history or learning the knowledge of each other. Because, one of the things, and I know Fred had talked about like the kindness of the Ghanaian people. One of the things as an American that I saw in being in Ghana was how that kindness gets taken advantage of, right? Yeah. So like even in Maury and in places around Cape Coast that are reliant on a fishing economy, you've got like Chinese that are building dams across that is impacting the community. And it's like, well, yeah, I mean, they're not trying to run you out of the country, but at the same time, can we be respectful of like people's way of life, like stuff like that, that I feel like, continues to this day of the plundering of Africa for their natural resources or whatever. And, I know that's bigger. I don't want to get into a beef with the Chinese, you know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, like, I feel like we have to be respectful of why things are placed where they are and the fact that communities thrive off of engaging in that commerce. And I don't want to see anybody who looks like me be dispossessed or anything just because, you have a global interest in doing something different.
Yeah, that's a topic for another show.
Yes.
But John just talked about WB.
Yes.
The Voice Center was an eye opener. And just so that folks know, W.B. Du Bois was welcomed home by Kwame Nkrumah, and there's also so there's a whole center that was named after him. I'll let Jesse tell.
Absolutely. So, Black people in America know W.E.B. Du Bois. This is the guy who set up the NAACP in 1909, and they actually have a book of the initial meeting minutes for the NAACP for 1909 in the W.E.B. Du Bois Center. So, this was somebody who was a master of Pan-Africanism, worked with a whole bunch of people who we've talked about on this show in trying to establish, I think it was in the 1920s, a Pan-African Council of people from the United States, different African nations, the West Indies, and trying to bring us all together. And I don't know if we've got people who have succeeded them in pushing that envelope further, but I think it was a good foundation. Ultimately, he did not want to remain in the United States of America as a Black man, because if you know the United States of America in the 40s, 50s, and 60s, wasn't the place you want to be as a Black person.
Yeah.
So he expatriated to Ghana, was very active with the university there, wrote like there was no tomorrow. So he's got books on everything from racism, color line, government, Pan-Africanism, everything. And ultimately passed away, surprisingly, the night before Martin Luther King's March on Washington. So, so just a lot of power there. He's buried there, so we got a chance to see his burial site. And they use it now as a center for all kinds of events. So just a great guy who was able to kind of at least build the beginning of a bridge for all of us in the diaspora to be able to reconnect. And I want people to really take advantage of that and really learn and expand your horizons and try to bridge this gap, because we all have been impacted in some way, shape, or form by white expansion, racism, and colonization. And the only way that we're going to really move beyond that is for us to rebuild these bonds together, because there's nothing that different about my brother in African nation and me, right? Like we both trying to make it, right, in a society that isn't always favorable for us. So I'll say, if you get a chance to go and see it, definitely see it. If you are Black, you're in America, you're going to recognize a lot of stuff in that museum. But it's very important for us to understand that our histories are interwoven.
All right, cool. And just to add to that, Nkrumah has also invited a lot of other people. So there's also what we call the George Padmore also went there. George Padmore from the Caribbean, and there's a library named after him, George Padmore. That's where some of us started reading and developed a love for reading. We've had Professor Harry come on here and talked about how he used to live there. He used to live on books over there, and now he's a successful professor of history, African history, at the Santa Clara State or Santa Clara University, one of them. Yeah. All right. So now this show could go on for 2 hours, but we try to keep it an hour with a little overtime. Jesse talking about his experience. If you want more information, contact him. And John, I've given an invitation. It's been 2 years since I invited you. You still no show. So John, my longtime friend, grew up together, went to the same high school. I affectionately call him Azu. So please come on, and we'd like to have you on the show. And also our sister Sarah Wachi, the real Sarah Wachi.
Yes.
I don't know where she's from, whether she's originally from Ghana or she's from Detroit.
I think she's from Detroit, but I think she
she fell in love with the Wachi. Oh, she fell in love with the Wachi. She's now calling herself the World Wachi. I'd like to have you on. So Jesse will be in touch.
Absolutely.
We'll see you. Thanks for joining us, everyone.
Thank you. And special thank you to John. I can't thank you enough for showing us your nation and letting us have an opportunity to get to know you, get to know the world that you are in. And definitely when you come back to the United States, man, call us. We got to get back up.
yeah, for sure. And John, I think John needs to start a travel and tours business.
Absolutely.
I think you'll do well. I know you're doing well, but you need to do that for us.
Absolutely.
All right. Take care, everyone. Bye.